Hi, and thank you for joining me. So over the last year, I've been trying out this OneTigris Down Camping Blanket. And today I want to share with you my pros, my cons, and my final thoughts so you can decide whether this OneTigris Down Camping Blanket is for you. Now, this down blanket currently sells for £69.99 off Amazon here in the UK. Now, it comes in a choice of 3 colours. You can get it in a OD green, and now the OD stands for olive drab. It just means that it's a dark green. You can also get this in an orange, and you can also get it in a blue. Now, the down blanket comes in this compression storage bag. Now, the size of the storage bag lengthwise comes in at around 34.8 centimeters, and the width comes in at around 16 centimeters. However, as it's a compression bag, you can really squash this all the way down, and that'll take the size down to about 26 centimeters by about 15 centimeters. Now, the packed weight as it is comes in at around 750 grams. However, the blanket on its own weighs in at around 735 grams. Now, apart from this being a compression storage bag, it does have a drawstring opening, so it makes getting this blanket out and then back in really easy and really quick. Now, this blanket is classed as a 3-season blanket. However, I would say it's a 3/4-season blanket. However, it all depends what you're using this blanket for and what time of the year you're using it. But we will cover that a little bit more in a bit. Now, the length of this blanket comes in at 200 centimeters. The width comes in at 140 centimeters. Now, the outer fabric, and which is the top layer of this blanket, and you know it's the top because it has the OneTigris Camping label, but it also has these dark accents in the corner, is made from a 20 denier ripstop nylon, and also it is water repellent. So you get a little bit of water on here, it will simply just run straight off. Now, when it comes to the reverse of this blanket, the fabric is made from a 300T polyester. When it comes to the insulation, this is made from a 600 power duck fill, and I have to say it's definitely not the thickest, but at the same time it is surprisingly warm. You do get a little bit of loft from the insulation, but not a great deal. You will also notice that you have these sort of poppers, these studs, 3 each end. These have been put on so you can use this blanket as a poncho or a cape. Now, when it comes to the temperature rating of this blanket, for me it is debatable. OneTigris class it between 8 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius. I think a more realistic temperature guide would be from, say, 12 degrees Celsius up to 25 degrees Celsius. It's debatable because it depends how you're going to use this blanket and what time of year you're going to use this blanket. Now, in the summer months, you know, when it's quite warm and you get in your tent, you might get away with just using this just as a little cover. But then again, you know, if it's really cold and you want just an extra layer, you could put this over your sleeping bag. Also, it depends if you sleep warm or you sleep cold. For warm people, they can use this when the temperature drops that bit lower and they'll be fine. But if you suffer from the cold, you run cold, then this just simply won't be enough. But then on the other side, this is just as a poncho or a cape, you know, around you by a campfire. It's perfect. So as I said, very debatable on their temperature range. But as I said, I think personally it would be a better range from between 12 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius. So, time for my pros on the OneTigris Down Camping Blanket. Well, first of all, I love that it's multifunctional. You can use it simply as a blanket on its own. You could just put it on the floor and use it to have a picnic on or whatever you choose. It can be used as a poncho. It can be used as a cape. It can be used as a summer quilt. You know, if it gets hot in your tent at night and you don't want to be in your sleeping bag, you can just use this blanket just to pop over you. Or on the other side of things, if it gets really cold and you want an extra layer on your sleeping bag, you could just pop that over the top. You can also use this blanket in a hammock. I like that it's well made. I like that it's light, it's comfortable, and you know, it's surprisingly warm even though it's not very thick. I also like that it is water repellent on the outside, so those little bits of spills that might happen, they will simply just run straight off. I like that you get a storage bag. The storage bag is well made, it's light, it's a compression bag, so it compacts down really small. And also with that drawstring opening, it's really easy to get the blanket out and then back in again. And then finally, the price, I think it's £69.99. I think it's a very fair price. Now, when it comes to the cons of this blanket, to be honest, I don't really have that many. First of all, I would say the temperature rating between 8 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius. For me, that is debatable, and you can make of that what you will. But as I said, it all depends on when you're using this blanket and how you choose to use this blanket. The next thing, I think, the blanket itself could be just that little bit bigger. It is a decent size, but if it was made just a little bit bigger, it definitely would help with the temperature rating again. So yeah, just a little bit bigger. Now, thirdly, I would say that it could do with just a touch more insulation. It really is not very thick, and yes, it's surprisingly warm, but you know, for the insulation that is in there, but it could do with a touch more insulation. And then lastly, you can get a 2.0 version of this OneTigris down camping blanket. And the reason I say it's a con is because apart from the one side of the 2.0 version of this blanket, where the fabric is slightly different, there's actually no real differences apart from that, but yet some places are charging quite a lot more money for the so-called 2.0 version. And I just think, you know, if a company is going to make a 2.0 version, there's got to be a significant difference, but in this case there's hardly any difference. So to be honest, you know, you can choose which version you want. They are practically the same blankets. The only thing I would say is that on the 2.0 version, they do offer a larger size. But other than that, you know, unless you're paying the same amount of money for the 2.0 or the original version, they are pretty much the same blanket. So my final thoughts on this blanket. Well, I really like it. And I would highly recommend it. I think for the money, it is a very fair price when you take everything into consideration. But the one thing I really like is that it is multifunctional. So this would make a great addition to all your camping gear. But let me know what you think about this blanket. As I said, I really like it, and I would highly recommend it. But hey, let me know your thoughts. But on that note, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And lastly, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.